Last time Brazel asked me to pick out my favorite game on the NES. This time he spiced it up and asked me what my favorite game on the Sega was. And while I do have many fond memories of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, there was one title that, like Ultima 4, helped direct my gaming preferences toward the RPG genre. The game, of course, Shining Force 2. I had already played 1, but 2 really stuck with me. Besides the fact that I was a blonde kid and Bowie also is a blonde kid, and I kinda connected with him on a spiritual level because of that fact, it's essentially just a visual and mechanical overhaul of Ultima 4, so it's no wonder I liked it. I chose 2 over 1 because of a few things. The music in 1 was very drab and repetitive. The music in 2 has much better direction and hosts some of the happiest music in an RPG I've ever heard. And it's not just that, it's also composed much better than its predecessor. Although it still suffers from being repetitive, the jovial tune of is way more tolerable than the dry staccato. And since you hear music 100% of the time, the volume is up even a little bit, that's kind of a big deal for me. Besides music, I also feel like the game is much more bold in its color scheme, placing together interesting color combinations, like when you upgrade Bowie to the hero class, he's wearing red, blue, green, white, and yellow. All of those are really intense when you pair them up together. I also thought it was cool how his hero class is sort of an homage to Max from the previous game. Speaking of upgraded classes, there's nothing I love more than being able to see your army grow. You start off as just a handful of kids, but by the end of it, you're all battle-hardened veterans. Even Sarah's showing off those legs and kicking ass by the end of it. Of course, she could also become a vicar too, but I always like to think that she gains some serious confidence and just starts taking names. These kinds of upgrades are probably one of my favorite aspects of any game, especially for a game like this where you spend more time battling than you do in story. You kind of get to make up your own story in between all the battles. While I'm talking about it, I might as well just gush about how cool the character designs are. Like, isn't it cool how Kiwi starts as this little turtle monster and then becomes this Shining Force version of Gamera? Or how your centaurs could be long range or short range, and depending on what you promote them with, they can become like 3 different classes. There's also Zinc, who's a freaking ancient automaton that's all mysterious and shoots lasers out of his arms. Or when you get Geralt and he's this weird looking Swiss Alps guy and you're like, I don't know about this guy, but turns into a full-blown freaking werewolf when he's promoted. As far as the story is concerned, it's decent, but the delivery isn't the best. I couldn't tell you if the translation was bad or what, but everyone sort of feels like the same character. Good guy, bad guy. I could show you a line of dialogue and you could slap any portrait up in the corner and it would fit them to a T. But because of this problem, you get these sort of funny scenes where, like, Astral, who lives next to and presumably studies this ancient tower, goes,
what a mysterious tower. I wonder who built it.
And later on, where Creed just says,
I understand you.
and tells a kid that he's just staying with them because he says so. I know the narrative doesn't want it to seem that way, but come on, when you say,
Adler will remain here,
then get in his face and say,
oh dear Adler.
that's creepy as hell. At around the time this scene happens, you also run into a weird mid-game halt on everything where it's just battle after battle after battle with nothing to break it up and really poor conveyance as to where to go a lot of the time, so it's pretty easy to get burnt out about halfway through. And oh man, let's not get into the last scene too much. Actually, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it with this. That scene could single-handedly explain why the support system and romances are a thing in Fire Emblem. And that's it. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Despite those shortcomings, the game has so much charm that I can overlook every single one of them. Between all the characters you can get, the places you go to, and the situations that you get in, the game always has some way of scratching that fantasy itch. So that concludes everything. I hope you enjoyed it, and like last time, go out and play this. It's like chess, but really charming chess. I mean, just look at May. Look at her. She's so f***ing cute. How could you not play this, knowing that something this adorable is in it? Now go get it. Why does everyone just sit there after I tell them that? Oh, what? Is it because you think you're better than me or something? Because I'm a cartoon and you're real, like you don't have to listen to what I have to say? Is that it? Is that the problem? Well, I mean, if that's the... Hey, who are you guys? Brazel? Brazel? Is that... Get off! Brazel! I'll get you for this! You can't keep me locked up forever!